The pause storage glitch is a very powerful glitch recently found that allows us to pause and then save the game at any time, even during cutscenes, when you're normally not supposed to be able to save and quit. And this trick requires Pro Controller, so I actually have to be in the Pro Controller mode to perform this glitch. And to perform it, we're actually going to have to enter the option menu, which is this menu right here, on the exact same frame as triggering a loading zone, such as this one, which I've flipped into this door to show it off. So, to trigger this loading zone on the exact same frame as hitting the option button, there's actually a few setups for doing so, and if it's ever using a spin attack, you can actually get around it being frame perfect, because you can actually home buffer while holding the option button, and then press home again and release everything. And then it'll actually trigger the spin attack, which moves you forwards into the loading zone, so that you can actually, if you're at the correct position, you'll actually trigger the option menu on the perfect frame while triggering the loading zone. And so here's an example of a setup, which I'll go over later. And then the home button. And this is pause storage. So you can see, I'm now in this weird menu where you can see I can move around and actually control this option menu. And the cutscene is going. Now, a couple things to note. We're actually completely blind at this point. And if we were to have to trigger a cutscene that is not on the other side of the loading zone, we'd actually have to navigate there blind. So, we can hear the audio, but there is actually no way to see where we're going, and that causes some problems. And the other problem is that you can't always spin attack into a loading zone. So, sometimes you have to do other measures to actually get into the loading zone, which is, there's a side hop setup, which is frame perfect, and I'll show that in a second. But once you want to skip the cutscene, or save warp, you navigate down blind. So I'm at the very top of the menu. I scroll down 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can switch to gamepad, which is that option. Now you can see I'm paused during the cutscene. Now I can actually use the left stick and scroll up to save. And I can save warp, and I'm just going to be quitting without saving. And as you saw, I can actually save quit during a cutscene, which is the point of pause storage. Now, one other thing to note for this glitch, I will be showing it off in a second. You actually, the same rules that apply when you're in the option menu apply to pause storage. So, when I'm in this option menu, there's a problem with pressing B. If I were to press B, that would actually exit the option menu, and that actually exits pause storage. So you can see if I trigger pause storage. Now I'm in pause storage right here because I triggered the loadings. You can trigger pause storage with the hacker pretty easily. You just go into the option menu and then you load a map. Now you can hear I'm in pause storage. Now if I press B, I lose pause storage. And that's a problem because there are times you want to slash your sword or maybe mash B for text or hold B for quick text. That'd be a problem if you were to leave the option menu. And there's another problem. I can't press start. Start doesn't do anything. Meaning, if we want to item slide, we actually can't pause for it. We have to do it unbuffered. Which is not the easiest thing in the world. And show it off. You have to very quickly flick between up and slightly down. Like that. And that's how you item slide while in pause storage. Like that. So, we actually cannot pause, and we cannot press the B button. However, there is a way around not pressing the B button, and this is used quite a lot. If I actually hold up on either the D-pad or on the analog stick, or down, when it's in the scrolling, when it hits the edge of the screen, you can actually press B. I'm pressing the B button right now, and it's actually not leaving the option menu. As soon as I release up, press B, and it'll exit the option menu. So, that's actually one way to get around. There's another thing you can do to press B. If you very quickly change an option, you can press B. So you just gotta shift your thumb from A to B. And I just press B there while this thing was changing, and I can press the B button. So I'll show this off with pause storage. So if I hold up, see I'm pressing the B button. I can also change an option. So it's probably a lot easier to just hold up on the D-pad though. But make sure you don't press it too quickly, because if you haven't held up for long enough, it won't be scrolling. So you have to hold up for a good about half second. That's why that one fails, because I was not holding up for long enough. And so there's a lot of blind setups for pause storage that use these mechanics. I'm gonna first show off the spin attack setup for pause storage. Now, every single loading zone is going to have a different setup. And so I'm going to be showing off one setup. And I'm going to be going over later all of what the setups are. And I'm going to show off what I do to get the spin attack setup. So once I'm in the correct position and I do that final slash, I'm going to hold the B button. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the option button on the gamepad screen and hold it. And then that's with my middle finger. And then with my pointer, make sure you're still holding B, I'm going to press the home button. And then now I can release everything. You could still hold B, but it won't matter if you still hold B. No, but you want to make sure you don't hold option. Once you press home, release the option, and then when you press home again, you'll see that's how you do the spin attack setup. And that is not frame perfect. So all the spin attack setups are just position dependent. The side hop setup for cutscene skips is frame perfect, and is most of the time just to save a few seconds. And if there is only one cutscene skip that requires a side hop setup, but the idea behind it is to be a fast setup that does not require a lengthy setup for slash attacks. And those few seconds could end up mattering, but remember, the risk involved of this frame perfect setup is that if you fail this frame perfect input, you can lose a very large amount of time, such as 3 to 4 minutes, if you fail the cutscene skip, because you'll be watching the cutscene. But to perform the side hop setup, we're actually going to be trying to press the option button, and while pressing the option button, press home and side hop on the exact same frame. And it turns out that the option menu takes the exact amount of frames as it takes to land a side hop. And so that means that once you hit the ground, the option menu will come up, triggering the loading zone in the exact same frame. And this one, the way to perform that I like to do is it involves a lot of button presses at the same time and a lot of fingers. So I like to put the gamepad on my lap, just as before, and I hover the Pro Controller over it. And now I'm going to take my right pointer and curl it around and press this home button on the Pro Controller. And my thumb is going to press the A button. And then my left pointer is going to be pressing target. And then my left middle finger is going to be dropping down and pressing the option button. And now what we want to do is quickly hit left or right, whichever direction you're pressing. And then you want to lean towards pressing home early. And if you do it correctly, you'll side hop. Now this is why you want to lean towards pressing home early. I actually did not side hop, so I actually pressed home too early, meaning that I didn't actually get out the side hop input. That means I can retry. However, if you're late, if you press home too late, you'll side hop. And it will not work. This one looks good. There we go. So if you're late, you actually have to watch the cutscene because the option menu does not come out in time. However, if you are on the correct frame, you actually not see Link side hop until after you release the home button, as you saw, because it actually takes an extra frame for that button to be registered and for that input to come out. So that is the side hop setup. It's required for some cutscene skips, and it is optimally faster. And the good thing about pressing the home button for it is that if you are early on your home press, you actually can retry. However, unfortunately, if you're late, it's over, and it's frame perfect. In this video, I'm going to be going over all pause storages, and this took me quite a long time to make, so I really hope that it would be helpful. Just skip to the part of the video that I have linked in the description that shows off your tutorial. So, first I'm going to start off with the Forest of Fairies cutscene skip, the one after Forest of Fairies. You actually can't skip the entire cutscene, only part of it. So, after you trigger this fight, only kill one of the goblins. Like that, and then take the other one and lure him over to this part right here. And he has to attack to get up. So he actually has to attack, and so it's really RNG dependent, unfortunately. There, almost. Come on, dude. Get up here. There we go. And then you want to get him off, so you can kind of hang like that. And then that'll make him jump attack you. And you really want to get him close to the entrance. So I want to get him over here, a little closer. And then you can kill him once he's around over here. And you have to very quickly roll into the loading zone. Then after this, you can go a little bit into the loading zone and get pause storage here with a side hop. This, and then now the cutscene will play. So, for this part of the cutscene, you actually can't skip it. So, you have to wait until Tetra has completely fallen out of the tree, and you get a bunch of text, and then you go through the loading zone, and then you can skip the cutscene. So, I'm going to skip until the part of the cutscene where the you can actually save warp. Okay, so I'm about to be at the part where I can skip the cutscene. After this fade out, you can switch to gamepad. And then save warp. And then something very interesting is going to happen after we save and quit the game. We start the file back up. It's actually going to initiate part of the next cutscene, not the entire thing. And weirdly enough, we save warp to the dock. So, because of that, Tetra is going to talk to Link all the way over at the dock. Weird. The setup for skipping the leaving outset cutscene is fairly simple. We enter Beetle Ship and then get full storage here. Now, I'm not going to show that, but I will show the setup afterwards. We're going to roll and hold up very quickly. Then dry roll, side hop, dry roll, and then 4 side hops. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then make sure you start holding D-pad up on that last side hop. Then we're going to dry roll and then talk to Tetra and remember that it's quick tasks. And then, now I haven't watched the cutscene of getting the hero shield, but after that, the cutscene will play, and then you can switch to gamepad mode and skip the cutscene. For the Forsaken Fortress 1 cutscene, first grapple the bokoblin, skip the spike raising cutscene, then go get the sword. Now, instead of fighting the bokoblin, we're going to have to clip out of bounds. Now, I'm not going to be going over in this video how to do this clip, but it is required. There we go. And now, we can do one of two things. We can side hop. Now, remember that this is a curved side hop, so you have to actually be kind of into the loading zone first before it to work. For it to work. If we're too far out, it's actually not going to work. And if we're too far in, it's not going to work either. So about right here is probably fine. Make sure that the arrow is in the middle of the screen, and you can side hop. Now, I'm actually going to be showing off another strategy that doesn't involve side hopping, which is frame lenient. Basically, be very careful to not put back in bounds. Maneuver to this wall right here, and then tap target to target the wall. So I like to use first person to see better. Now, side hop once to the right, and then do 5 horizontal splashes, just regular B presses, and hold B on the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then now we hold Option and press home. And then press home again, and that'll trigger pause storage on this loading zone. Now we can't save warp on this right here. If we were to save warp right here, this would actually not take us to Windfall, and it would not trigger loading King of Red Lions. So King of Red Lions does not spawn until the later half of the cutscene. So this entire first about minute and a half, you have to watch all of this. So I'm going to skip forward to the end of the cutscene so you can see what part that you need to switch to gamepad and then save warp. Alright, so we've reached the end of the cutscene. We have 2 scene changes, and then in this next cutscene is when the boat starts going, hey. That's when you can save warp. So you see it's the second scene change, and then this is where you switch to gamepad. And then from here we can save and quit, and that will skip the cutscene. The wallet dupe is a trick performed in 100% to get both wallet upgrades from the same fountain, the Northern Fairy Island fountain. And this duping requires pause storage. So to set up pause storage on this loading zone, go to the right wall here and go kind of on the left side. I mean, in the middle works as well, but don't go too far right. If you go over here, you get the wrong angle. So you want to target this wall. And now go, make sure you're to the right of the middle here. Like, you want to be pretty far right. If you're far left, this setup does not work. So go, make sure you're around in here. You'll perform a side hop, and these are tap side hops. So make sure that you tap left and A at the same time, or else you move forwards before side hopping. You see, if I just keep hitting right and left, I keep moving forwards, and that messes up the setup. So it has to be press left at the same time as side hopping. So again, target this wall, go to the right, side hop, tap side hop, and then now we're going to do 4 vertical slashes and hold B on the 4th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this actually is not the correct position. In order to get to the correct position, we need to slowly hold up until the left leg moves a little bit. So around here would be correct. The furthest forward you can have is if it's touching the outer ring. As you can see, it's almost, right here it's touching the outer ring. That's the furthest forward you really want to go. Don't go any further forward than that. And now hold options and home. And then you get pause storage on the loading zone. And now you can roll to the ferry. 3 rolls will work. And then make sure you mash A for this cutscene. Do not mash B, or else that will get rid of pause storage. And mash through the text. And now here we're going to obtain the upgrade. So scroll down 4 times from the very top. There we go. And now I'm hovering over switch to gamepad. Now, as you heard, this text goes dun 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 dun, and then you hear the drums roll, and then the drums stop rolling. That's when you can actually press A to switch to gamepad. And then now, as you see, I have the wallet upgrade, and now I can save and quit. And that gives me the wallet upgrade without having watched the cutscene. So all we do, we're going to then enter the fountain again. And this cutscene will be here still, so then we can watch the cutscene again, and this time get the biggest wallet upgrade. And this is how you dupe the wallet in 100%. As of the making of this video, the setup for the wallet dupe in Forest of Fairies is not my favorite, but it does work. So I couldn't really figure out any kind of setup that involved a consistent position, so you're kind of just going to have to eyeball it, but you're going to just walk up to the circle right here after bombing the boulder. And we really want to inch forwards, and then now you can shift Link, you can reset Link's feet by kind of just hitting sideways, and so you see how the front of his foot is kind of like touching the edge of the circle. That's really what you want, and so we're gonna hit options at home, and then release everything. And then that'll give you pause storage, and then roll to the ferry, and then same deal as usual. Going to mash the text just with A, not B, because B will get rid of pause storage. And then scroll all the way down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then wait for the sound effect to end. And then press A. Alright, sound effect's done. Press A. And then here is where we're save warp. And then we can go back to the fairy fountain and get it again. So this is not useful in regular 100% because this fairy fountain is very slow to go to. And it really doesn't work considering fact that we have to do Forsaken Fortress without having completed Forest of Fairies, which will crash if you re-enter. So this is really only useful in the no manual sim category, where you can use this to dupe the wallet so that you can actually do auction with the buyouts early with pause storage. Otherwise, you have to do first try Swift Sail route. So, yep, that's how you do Forest of Fairies wallet dupe, rather than Northern Fairy Island wallet dupe. For the Deku cutscene skip, we're going to be getting pause storage on the outside, leading to the entrance to Forest Haven. But to do this, instead of going directly to the loading zone after clipping into the waterfall, once we get to around here, I'm actually going to turn left and aim towards this island over here, the very center of it. And that'll put me inbounds without falling down the waterfall, without triggering a loading zone. Now, this Octorot's annoying. If you go too far away, he'll trigger. So, make sure that you're kind of close enough to the Octorot, but still want to be close enough to the loading zone to side hop into it. And this is going to be the side hop setup for pause storage. Like this. Now, I'm going to be showing the setup without pause storage. So I'm actually going to get rid of pause storage here. And I'm going to show what the setup looks like without pause storage first. And then I'll show what it looks like with pause storage. So the first thing to do after this cutscene's over, make sure you tap the right stick to go into free cam. Just tap like ESS real quick, and that will move the camera any significant amount. Now I'm going to start holding up right and perform 4 rolls. The last roll can be a little more up than the first 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then up. And then hold up to climb. Now, when I'm climbing, I'm going to be centering the camera by holding target, and then I'll release it after he's done climbing. Make sure you keep holding up. That's important because you can then press B after you climb the waterfall to pull sword, which we will need to pull. As long as you kept holding up, that B press will not exit the option menu. So normally, if you press B, it'll exit the option menu. But if you hold up for long enough and you press B, actually, I can press B and it won't leave the option menu. So you'll keep pause storage. So again, after I climb this waterfall, press target, hold up, and then press B. Now I'm actually going to start holding up left here because we're going to be performing 6 to 7 rolls. If you're good at the roll angles, you only require 6, but I like doing 7 for good measure. Hold kind of up left and perform 6 rolls. And this is in default camera, so let go of target, but don't go into free cam. So like this, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, I kind of missed the 7 one. But yeah, see how 6 sometimes works? If you hold too far left, you really need 7. And then for this last one, you climb the waterfall. Hold more up to climb, so up left won't make you climb, but up will. Now I'm going to do a side hop to the left, then 2 jump slashes, and then this is where I like to put away sword, right here. So you can tap ZR to put away sword, because it will need to be put away. And then 3 side hops to the left. 1, 2, 3. And that should trigger the cutscene right next to the stump. After this cutscene is over, I'm going to hold ZL and mash A to bonk the stump. And also, this is where you can start holding D-pad up in order to, you're going to need to press B later. So, do that, and then I'm going to release all those. Now, go to the left, like, get hit, hold sword, hold for a spin attack, and then keep holding for spin attacks. Like that. So sometimes it requires extra spin attacks. That time I got very lucky and it only required 1. But all you have to do is just keep pressing B and releasing B. The timing is kind of finicky, but sometimes you get bad RNG on the 2 position, so hopefully it doesn't take that many spin attacks in order to kill all the 2s. But I do like to get hit before I slash the sword the first time by the reds. And so once you get to this point in the cutscene, this is where you can skip it. And now I'm going to show it with pause storage. So here's the setup with pause storage. So first I'm going to get pause storage. Make sure you don't trigger the loading zone. There we go. I'm going to wait until this cutscene ends, and then I'm going to start the blind movement. Away sword. There we go. Now I'm in the cutscene. So it's at this point that I can actually start holding the D-pad up. And I'm going to be holding target and mashing A to get the roll and the bonk. Okay, move to the right. One more. There we go. Fortunately, got pretty unlucky with 2 placement, as you can see there. And then here, I can scroll down 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then switch to gamepad. And then save and quit. And that's the cutscene skip. The Forsaken Fortress 2 cutscene skip is exactly the same as Forsaken Fortress 1, though the clip out of bounds is a lot easier because of the fact that there's a little door underneath the ground over here that can stop our momentum. So I will not be going over how to perform the FF2 door clip in this tutorial. However, I will be showing it off and then showing off the cutscene skip. I'm going to switch to Pro Controller. Now from here we can simply side hop into the loading zone. However, I will be showing off the non-side hop setup as well. We will go to this wall, target it, side hop to the right once, 5 slashes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold B for the last one. These are all horizontal slashes. Hold the option button, press home, and then press home again. And here we can immediately save warp and skip the cutscene. The Tetra to Zelda cutscene skip requires clipping in a bounds first and triggering the back of this loading zone. Because if I just clip into the statue, it'll I'll trigger the cutscene before I trigger the loading zone, and that's bad because the cutscene trigger you want to avoid. So what we want to do is we want to side hop onto this railing like this, and then we're gonna clip out of bounds on this railing and leaf to the loading zone. So we're gonna do a forwards item slide, then start holding up, then quickly switch to right like this, and then pull leaf as you fall, and then you can trigger the loading zone. From here, I'm gonna go into this corner right here and target the wall, and make sure you're in the middle of the wall. So this is too far to the left, and this is too far to the right. Just around right here, and then start holding left, and then side hop. Now, if you didn't hold left for long enough, you'll just sidle the wall like this. So start holding left, then side hop, then pull sword, jump slash, and then slash 3 times. On that 3rd slash, you're going to hold the B button. So 1, 2, 3, and hold B, and then from here we can hold options and home buffer. And then it should work. And then we have to wait for the loading zone to trigger one more time. And now we're in the cutscene. You can switch to gamepad and then save warp. There is another setup for Tetra to Zelda that does not involve a spin attack, and it's frame perfect. So you cannot side hop here, because if you side hop, you will get to the staircase over here. But what you can do instead, pull sword, turn around with ESS, and then now we're going to do a frame perfect jump slash. Instead of a side hop, we're hitting home and jump slash at the same frame. And that failed. So, that's why, you know, don't necessarily recommend it if you're not very comfortable, because in this case, I would have lost the entire time that it takes to watch the cutscene because I was a frame off. But if you are frame perfect, unlike me just then, you will be able to skip the cutscene without doing any setups for the spin attack, and that is the fastest way to skip that cutscene is with that jump slash by just a few seconds. The Puppy Ganon cutscene skip also requires a tricky clip out of bounds. Make sure you kill all the enemies first, what I prefer doing. And then go up on this ledge, and I really will not be explaining how to perform this, but I really want to be leaping onto this pillar and then climbing up out of bounds over here. And then here we can steam walk all the way around. And you gotta be really careful when you reach this last part because it's very narrow. If I go any too far to the left, I'll fall off because the ground does not reach very far to bounds at this point. And then here I'm gonna go all the way into the wall right here. Then turn to the right and in first person and line up that pillar with the right edge of the screen. Now we actually have to perform a side hop for this cutscene skip. So I'm actually going to be holding up left and then pressing options and pressing home and A, hopefully on the same frame. There we go. And then once we reach this point, we can skip the cutscene by switching to gamepad. And then save warping. The auction pause storage is definitely by far the hardest pause storage for blind movement. The blind movement is the most elaborate because you have to navigate to the auction house blind from Beetle's ship, which is where you perform pause storage, and then do auction and buy every single item up to 5 times blind. And that's a lot of time spent doing pause storage, and if you mess up once, you can lose a lot of time because you are blind and you don't know how to back it up. So there is a setup to get to the auction house. I'll be going over that real quick. The items that we want to buy are the Swift Sail and the 2 treasure charts, as well as the heart piece. And the Joy Pendant is RNG, whether it shows up. We can buy it because we're not going to spend any rupees. So the point of pause storage is to buy all these items with 999 rupees, which buys them immediately. And we skip paying by save warping just before the auction house takes our rupees, but we still obtain the item. So I guess Beetle's taking us on a ride. So that skips paying for the items. Then you can just buy every single item with 999 rupees without spending any rupees. So that's pretty good. And it's a 1 in 5 chance of not getting a Joy Pendant. So we want to not get a Joy Pendant. And we can tell what item is which. Now, I'll be going over that shortly. But first, I'm going to go over the setup. So we're going to have to enter Beetle's ship on Windfall. And then perform a side hop to get pause storage. Now, I failed it there, but imagine I got it, right? And I had pause storage here. But I'm going to show what it looked like without pause storage. And then I'll show it with pause storage. So here, we're going to side hop to the right and hold target and right as you enter the water. And then hold up and then mash A to get into the boat, like this. While holding target. So the whole time you're holding target, and just hold up and mash A. Now, the wind is supposed to be the default east direction. You can see the wind is east here. And so that's the default wind direction before you even change any wind direction. So that's required this because we're actually going to be leafing to the dock. Also, as you've climbed into the boat, make sure that you start holding up on the D-pad, or down, but up is usually the best. Now I'm going to pretend that I've been holding up on the D-pad. That's going to allow me to press B to get out of the boat. So you're actually going to keep holding up on the D-pad and then press B, and then mash a leaf. And don't hold anything on the stick. That should take you to the dock right here. Now, if you press leaf too early, I think it's possible to miss for the side up coming up to actually fall off the dock, but it hasn't really happened to me much, but I believe it can happen. But most of the time, it should be fine. I mean, it's just like super rare for that to happen to me. But I believe it's because you pressed leaf too early. Probably frame perfect. So, alright, so when we get to this point, now remember, when you're leafing, do not hold anything on the stick. And once he's hit the ground, you can actually hear it. You want to slide up once to the right. And then from here, we're going to perform 4 rolls. Now stop between each roll. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to perform 6 side hops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, there are 4 more side hops under this, but I want to show you that the first 6 are normal side hop lengths. But these next 4 are going to be kind of contracted because they are up a hill. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we're going to perform 2 rolls. And the second one should bonk, which is normal. Don't be alarmed if you bonk. You're supposed to bonk. That's just part of the setup. Now, side hop 4 times to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4. The last one is longer than the first 3 because the last one is on flat ground. Now, roll twice. Make sure you stop between each roll. 1, 2, and then side hop twice. And then on that second side hop, after that, you can just hold right, and then open the door. You'll hit the door and you'll open it. Now, make sure you start holding B after the fade out, because you're actually going to have quick text coming up. So I'm actually going to start holding B, not yet, now. I can start holding B, and that does not get rid of pause storage because it's a loading zone. Now, after we enter the door, we're going to hold target and dry roll twice, and then talk to him. And then this is all quick text, so you're still holding B. That's why I'm holding B here, because otherwise, look, it would be normal text. Well, I couldn't show it, but yeah, we're holding B the entire time. And then you don't really let go of B until you start mashing A for the auction. Now, we have no idea what item we have, normally. So, this is a treasure chart, right? But when we're doing auction blind, we have no idea what item we have until we get it. So, here, mash A as quickly as you can. If you mash quick enough, you can actually skip a bit. My mashing's not the best, so can't really skip a bit. I'm not that great at it. But usually, you know, after the first one, you should be fine. Now, once the bid comes up, you want to hit left twice. And then I'm going to start holding up on both the D-pad and the left stick. And that's going to very, very quickly set it to 999. When it stops moving, you can hear it. It's going to sound a little different than that with pause storage. I don't really know why. But you can then let go of the left stick, but keep holding up on the D-pad. I'm still holding up on the D-pad because there's going to be quick text here. So we're going to press A, and then we're going to hold B. And then we're going to get the item. So that's the setup for pause storage. Now, as far as the item goes, it depends when you are going to be switching. So every single item for auction is actually going to have a different text box sound effect, and depending on what sound effect you get, you actually want to advance a different amount of text boxes before switching to gamepad to save warp. And I'm about to go over those right now. So, for the sake of helping you learn, I'm going to show you the item, and you need to listen to the sound that it makes. So, before I show you this item, the treasure charts, both of them, and the Swift Sail all make the same sound effect, and this is what sound effect they make. So, for Swift Sail and two treasure charts, you actually do the same thing. You want to advance the first text box with A, and then you want to switch to gamepad and wait until it is finished with this text right here. And it's kind of hard to know when it's finished, so just make sure you've waited quite just a few seconds before pressing A. So this A press is also going to switch to gamepad mode, and that's when you save warp. Now, instead of doing that, I'm actually going to reload the map to show you what it would do. So it should look like that, and then it should, now instead of it would be save warping, not reloading the map. But I've reduced the same effect. I advance the text box, and then the save warp happens after the text box occurred. So you got the item, which switches to that text, and instead of paying, you got the item and save warp. So that item is now out of the pool. The joy pendant, as you hear, has a different sound effect. Now, be careful, because this could actually be a heart piece if the heart does not fill in your container, which in the normal 100% route is routed such that the heart that you get fills in your container and it makes a different sound effect. But if you mess something up and you forgot a heart piece, then actually the heart would make the same sound as the joy pendant, and you would have no way of knowing which is which. But, assuming we did nothing wrong, here's how you do pause storage for the joy pendant. So it's actually the same as the Swift Sail and the two treasure charts. You advance the first text box and then scroll all the way down to gamepad, and then wait to make sure that the text box is finished, so that the A press will advance the text box as well as switch to gamepad. And then that will save warp right after getting the item, and you'll see that text box, and then you'll have received the item, and again, instead of reloading the room, you'll have save warped, and now the item is out of the pool. The heart piece will make a different sound only if you have 3 heart pieces before this, and this is the sound it makes. Now, for this, you actually want to advance 0 text boxes before switching into gamepad. So this is different from all the others. And so scroll all the way down and then to gamepad mode, and then switch to gamepad mode. Now make sure the text box is done. You want to make sure the text box ends around when the sound effect ends. So that will give you a good idea of when to switch to gamepad. And so here we'll switch to gamepad, and I'm going to reload the map as if I was save warping. You'll see that text box. And there we go. So I'm going to show you an example of what happens if you accidentally switch too early. So let's say I switched right here. Now, normally I'm supposed to advance one text box because this is either the Swift Sail, one of the treasure charts, or the other treasure chart. But let's say I switched here by accident. Now you can see I can actually see the item. You're like, hooray, I just got the item. Well, actually, you haven't received the item until after this text box right here. So actually, if I were to save warp right here, I actually would not get the item. So this is RIP, unfortunately. Here's an example of what happens if you actually are too late on save warping. So this should be 2 text boxes because I hear the sound effect that would make if it was the Swift Sail or one of the treasure charts. So let's advance the text box. And then advance another one. And as you see, my rupees are gone. So I accidentally advanced both text boxes, and my rupees are gone. So so I got the item, but my rupees are gone. So make sure that you advance the correct number of text boxes. If you advance too many, you'll get the item, and your rupees will be gone. So now you can't buy any more items on auction. Now, if this was your last item, that's okay. But if this was your second to last item or one of the first ones, you just have to quit without saving because you're not going to be able to quick buy out the other items. So here's the entire thing together. Enter the boat, and I'm gonna buy one item. You can see it. Right, there we go. Now I'm gonna navigate to the auction house. First, gotta get in the boat. Alright, now I'm on the dock. That bonk is mandatory. It's always gonna happen. Alright, now I'm about to start holding B after I open the door right now. Then 2 dry rolls. Talk to Zenori. Still holding B because this is all quick text. Alright, now I can start mashing A. Here we go. Left twice. Hold up on both the stick and the D-pad. And then A. Now I'm holding B again. Alright, so this is a joy pendant, so I'm gonna press A. I'm gonna scroll down 4 times. And then press A. And now I can save warp. And that bought me a joy pendant. Unfortunately, you do not want a joy pendant, but yeah, that's how you do one attempt. The Tower of the Gods cutscene skip is certainly one of the harder pod storages. The goal of this is to basically get pod storage from Beetle ship, which requires a frame perfect setup from inside of the loading zone. And then we need to navigate blind all the way to the island, way over there. And then climb up all the way to the top and then trigger the cutscene for placing the final portal. And by the way, this island, this is Southern Triangle Island. So it's different based on which Triangle Island you do. I will only be going over Southern Triangle. However, there are some times you may want to go to Eastern Triangle Island, so it's going to be different. Now, never Northern. Don't ever do it, Northern Triangle Island. But Eastern and Southern are going to be the ones that you're worried about. And so, unfortunately, the best setup for navigating blind to the island requires waiting 30 seconds to void out in the water. However, that is the only RTA viable setup I've ever found for it. So let's go over the setup. I'm actually not going to be showing off the pod storage just yet, but I'll show off the setup after you leave the boat. So I'm going to be speaking Pro Controller, and then really just gonna get off the beetle ship and just wait to drown. So that's really it. It takes 30 seconds to drown. That's the first part. That's gonna spawn us in the boat facing the island. Then I'll go over quickly what happens after we drown. I'll be back after I've drowned. Okay, so I have drowned. I'm actually going to show off a timer because I'm actually going to be timing this to get myself to the island properly. So it depends on whether you have Swift Sail or not. It's actually way faster to get to the island if you have Swift Sail, if you imagine, because you can sail faster. Now, normally the wind is in the wrong direction. As you can see, the wind is in the wrong direction for sailing. So unless you have Wind's Requiem, really, you're gonna have to be cruising to the island. So for cruising, you want to cruise for 58 seconds. For Swift Sail, it's actually 12 seconds. So I'm gonna be showing off Swift Sail first. So ready? We're gonna start it at 5 seconds and do 12 seconds of Swift Sail. And then ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I pull Windmaker at the 12th second. And then I'm going to press Windmaker again and actually hold down the button, because this is going to allow me to press the B button to get out of the boat. You gotta wait about a second. And now I'm going to flick on the C stick and then press B. Well, I'm still holding the D-pad up. Now I don't have to hold anything anymore. After he's entered the water, release the stick, and then now he's finished surfing his thing, start holding up. And you can actually roll after you're on that island, and you're just going to keep going up until you get to this part right here. After he's climbed, you're actually going to press in the C stick, and press it again. Or press A, either one, to center the camera, and then hold up again. So we climb, and then we're going to press in the C stick again, and then hold up. And that will trigger a cutscene. So now I'll be showing off the trick with pause storage. So we have to enter Beetle ship on Southern Triangle Island, and then perform a side hop setup to get out of the loadings, to get out. There I failed. We'll try it again. Have to enter in every single time, then it fails. If you were early, be fine. Here we go. Now we get off the boat. And then wait to drown. This takes 30 seconds, so I will skip to the part where I have drowned. Okay, so Link is about to drown. There we go. And then after this, I'm going to Swift Sail for 12 seconds. I'm going to start it at 5 seconds. Count to 12. 3, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Hold the up on the D-pad, click the C stick, and then press B. Now I'm in the water, now start holding up. On the land, I can roll. Climb, C stick. And then C stick again. Climb. There we go. There we go. Now I'm going to mash to the first text, scroll down 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on this text box, I'm going to press A to switch to gamepad. Now, this switch that I just did right here is if you want to save and quit to the island. And that's useful in 100%. Now, there is another place that I can save and quit. If I were to wait on the loading zone of this cutscene and then save and quit after the fade out, I would be in the Add Mummy map, which is the map that the Tower of the Gods raises on. Now, if I'm saving and quitting here, I'll actually go back to the overworld. So, the category that's useful in to save warp in the Add Mummy map is actually the No Barrier Skip category, because they actually need to ring the Tower of the Gods bell. And so that actually skips a very large portion of the dungeon, because when they save warp, they'll actually save warp to the bell. And that's bad in 100% because you actually don't want to go down to Hyrule 1 in the 100% category. You actually want to stay in the overworld. So that's the differences. Again, the place that I save worked, which is on the text box of placing the last pearl. It's the text box after he places it. That is if you want to go to the overworld in 100%. While in the no berries category, wait until the map changes and then save and quit. The setup for getting Wind God's Aria and Earth God's Lyrics is exactly the same. After removing the obstacle in the way to the loading zone, go in a little bit, and then side hop into the loading zone for the pause storage. And then I can roll twice, and then pull Wind Waker, and then play the song. Now, scroll down. And then we want to, as soon as we hear the song text come up, we want to switch. Right now. And then we can save warp. Now, be careful you don't wait too long to switch. Or else the text will actually close. So you actually have to be quick, or else this will happen. And then, we started watching the cutscene, and I don't exactly know how to get out of this, but, this kind of looks like a soft lock. Wait, it looks like it has. It might have, it's not a soft lock. There is a way out of it. I don't exactly remember how, but, yeah, just be sure that when you switch to gamepad, it's before the text box is ended, or else you'll close the text box, and the cutscene will trigger, like this. For the Medli cutscene skip, we're first going to get pause storage on this loading zone. Now, I'm not going to get pause storage because I'm going to show the setup without pause storage first. So, after getting out of this loading zone, we're going to have to navigate to Medli blind. Now, here is the setup that does not get magic. One that would be used in 100%, or if you don't want to learn the setup with magic, you can get magic over there, and then go back through the loading zone and come back out. However, that's 2 extra loading zones, which is slower. So, first, move forward just a tiny bit and perform 4 side-ups. Now, make sure these are tap side-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I tapped right at the same time. Now, I have to redo this, one of these side-ups, because I want to show you that on this last side-up, you actually want to release target mid-air. So right after side-hopping, you want to release target. Now, keep holding right, and then I'll make you climb up to it. And then perform another side up to the right. And now I'm over here, and so I'm going to turn off gyro here, because this is what it would be like with a Pro Controller. Hold grapple, and aim up for about 1/3 of a second. And then the rest of the way, you can ESS. And then once you hear this sound effect, that means you can grapple. Now, grapple until right after you hear the rope. So you kind of gotta get a feel for how long to grapple. If you grapple for too long, you go into the wall. Grapple for too little, and you're too far back. From here, 2 side ups to the left. 1, 2. And then I like to put away grapple here, and then climb. Though you do not need to put away grapple. It just makes going up the ladder faster. Now dry roll, and then hold up. Now as I'm going up the ladder, I'm going to keep holding target. Then I'm going to tap the C stick. That puts me in free cam, and then I can simply hold up left and roll into Medli. So, this time, let's see it with pause storage. Alright, let's get, do a side hop setup to get pause storage. I'm gonna go all the way up on the stick, so that I scroll up on the menu. Hold up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Side hop. Aim. So if you fail, you can actually grab and then turn around again after climbing up. There we go. Side up. Side up. I'm in the ladder, good. There we go. So now we're at Medli. Make sure to only mash A for this text. We're gonna mash through all this text, and then we're gonna play Windmaker. And we're gonna play the song Blind. Okay, oops. Didn't mean to talk to her again. Here we go. Mash through this text. This is quick text. Play this song. Now we're gonna scroll down 4 times. Now I'm at the bottom of the menu. We're gonna wait until the scene change, and then we're gonna save warp right here. And then skip the cutscene. Here is the setup for the blind movement if you want to get magic. So it's 2 side hops to the left. On the second side hop, start holding D-pad up like this, and then after you held it for a little bit, slash twice. 1, 2. Now you don't always get the magic in the second slash, but sometimes you can. So after that, the setup anyway is to hold back left, and then you should grab the second magic, but hold back left until he stops moving, then side hop once to the right, jump slash, and then 4 side hops, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the last 5th one, release target right after you side hop. And then hold right to climb, and then side hop to the right, and then you should be able to grapple from here. For the Ganondorf cutscene skip, the side hop into the loading zone actually does not work for some reason. It seems that the loading zone is at a different height than the regular ground over here. So instead, go to this corner, aim a little bit to the right, and then press target. If you aim to the left, you can't target the wall. It's only if you aim to the right. And then scoot into this corner, then side hop once to the right, then 3 vertical, 1, 2, 3, then 1 horizontal, hold B, hold option, and then press home. Then press home again. And then now we can skip the cutscene from here. That's all for me. Thank you so much for watching. This video took me the most time to make out of any tutorial I've ever done, so I hope it helps you out, and I hope that it helps you learn all the pause storage setups, and I really wanted to make sure I got it all in one comprehensive video, and if you have any questions, please don't be afraid to reach out to me. I will link my stream below, and then don't be afraid to Discord DM me if you have any questions, and yeah, that's it for me. See you.